What's up, guys? We're back from break and with another Sunnyside superstar, and I'll let her introduce herself, coming from Western New Mexico.
Hi, my name is Lauren Carbajal, and I am a sophomore now at Western New Mexico University.
We're talking about softball, but one thing, like what I talked about before, you also played another sport. So, what was it like dealing with volleyball and softball in high school? Because a lot of people are scared to even try two sports in high school now.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. In middle school, I played volleyball too, and I really loved it. And I was just like, why not give it a try in high school? So I tried it, and it was a little difficult managing both softball and volleyball because I was still going to club, and my club team was in Phoenix
Yeah.
at the time.
For volleyball or
For
softball?
softball.
Okay.
So like during volleyball season, there was times I would have to miss, and it was hard. But for the first 2 years, I was like, okay, I need to start focusing on one sport, and that's when I realized that I want to stick to softball. So that's when.
So you didn't play your last 2 years of high school for volleyball?
No, I didn't.
Dang, and you're still all state for every single one. That's awesome. So having a dad as a head coach, and I kind of can relate. 'Cause my dad was my coach for baseball. What's it kind of like dealing with the coach and father kind of relationship?
Yeah, so my dad has been my coach ever since I first started playing softball. So he's always been my coach. And then once I started getting the club, he wasn't my coach anymore. So it was a little different. And then once we got back to high school, he was my coach again, and I liked it. I did.
Yeah.
I know I might
Did
have.
you miss it at all? Kind of being away, coming back.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. I would give him a hard time sometimes, but no, there was a certain level of coach and father. So there was like kind of like a boundary, but where we worked both good together, and I really liked it.
That's awesome. So how old were you when you started playing softball?
I think like 5 years old, 5, 4.
Sunnyside Little League course,
No,
right?
I actually played Las Niñas, which is a Baja
Okay.
team. Yeah, it wasn't Little League. It was a different club. So.
That's awesome. But there was no doubt that you were eventually going to go to Sunnyside for high school, right?
Yeah, for sure. Everyone in my family went. All my sisters went. It was just in the family, and that's where I wanted to go.
Awesome. What was it like stepping on the field for the first time wearing that Sunnyside uniform?
It was nice. It was nice when my dad would coach for my middle sister. I would always go like for practices, like just wishing that I could be there already.
So you
and
wait, so I didn't
practicing.
get. So how many are you, the youngest, or are you like?
I'm the youngest. I have two older sisters that both went to Sunnyside, and my middle sister played softball at Sunnyside as well.
Yeah.
So when she would go to practices and stuff, I would just always want to be around her and around the team, and I just couldn't wait to be there when I was in middle school.
Yeah.
So when I finally could freshman year, it just felt super nice, and I was happy, and I
You ever
was
get a
excited.
chance to play with your sister on Sunnyside?
No,
Or was she...
she was a year older than me. So when she graduated is when I became a freshman. So.
Oh, nice. What kind of the lessons you learned from her? Because having an older sibling is always kind of having a role model in your life. What's kind of things you learned from her high school journey?
I loved watching her play. The thing that she was always aggressive. She was fast on the base path, and I just loved how she never had a bad attitude, and like I just aspired to be that way, and how she was always just like wanting to do more, and you can tell she really loved the game. So that's what I liked looking at.
Nice. So you made varsity junior and senior year, or was it all 4 years?
All 4 years.
All 4 years? Dang it, that's bad on my research. Kind of myself too. But your senior year, you were the captain, correct?
Yes, sir.
Talk about what it's like being a captain on a high school squad. What are the kind of things you always need to make sure you're doing right? Because one thing to tell people what you're doing, but it's another thing to lead by example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was an honor for sure, and I know there's some captains that like can come off like bossy or not good captains, and like that's like the one thing that I didn't want to be known for. I wanted to be someone that people can look up to and that people can go to, and I knew I wanted to play for the next level. So if they wanted to ask me like any questions or mentor them, like I just something that I love to do. And just like overall being a captain and a leader has helped me as a person too.
Yeah.
In just like a lot of ways, and I just love that like they could come to me and I could mentor them, and it was an honor.
Yeah. Was there ever someone, I don't know if you can say their name out, that you actually mentored going through high school? Like my senior year, I had a little freshman that's basically I called my little brother. Is there someone you kind of mentored in that way, where you had kind of situations where like you always had their back?
I'd have to say just the younger classmen, like the ones that were juniors and sophomores, just like all of them in general, I got like super close with, and they got close with me. Like Tatiana Vega too was someone, and Soleil Ponce, just like some of the younger classmen for sure.
That's awesome. And then we also talked about Jet a lot. how long have you been with Jet? Or is it just something that's just started, or were you doing it all 4 years of high school as well?
I did it all 4 years. I actually started doing jet when we were still when they were still at the building right here. Like
Oh,
they
the
were,
smaller location.
like
Oh,
I
shit.
think they were right about to move. So I've been there for a while. So yeah, for the summers I've been doing it, off season. So I've been here for a minute.
Yeah. How important do you think doing training like that really is?
It's so important, especially if you're an athlete that wants to get to the college level. Like stuff like jet has helped me in so many ways, and just preparing my body, getting ready for the next level. And I don't think I would have had the success that I had my freshman year if it wasn't for jet.
Yeah. What are kind of the lessons you learned, like their core values? Because I remember having some other people saying, "Oh, like not only do you get physically strong, your mental ability goes to a whole nother level." Just having Jose and Isaac as coaches.
I've had Jose as my training coach since the beginning, and he's always pushed me in like so many ways, and I think it's just helped me to just like have like a stronger mindset, especially if you are looking to play at the next level. Like I don't think people realize how much like effort that you need to put into your sport, not just practicing and playing the sport, but outside of the field too.
Yeah.
Like what jet does, like conditioning and getting stronger, and it's just helped me like just to like get to that next step.
Yeah. So everyone, like at least when I got to college, I remember everyone's the same. It's what you do. If everyone's the same, everyone's going to practice every day. They're all working out. So what you do that freaking above them is going to take you to the next level. So speaking of that, what was the recruiting process like for you? When did you start getting recruited, and when did you kind of start getting excited? Like, oh shoot, it's guaranteed that I'm going to play college softball.
I think once I started in high school is when it started getting more serious. I started going out to camps, and reaching out to college coaches, just sending out any type of videos that I have, any to college coaches, because you never really know what can happen. And especially at certain tournaments where like there'd be like scouts there, you'd never know who's watching. So
Yeah.
it was always important to play your best, not only when you're playing, but like in the dugout as well, how you're being a teammate, how you're being a leader, how you're talking. So that was like kind of the main things I focused on. But for the recruiting process, it was tough. It was tough. Like the recruiting, anyone can say that recruiting like does take a toll on you, just from I need to go to college, like I need to and stuff. And then my coach Young, who is one of the coaches at Western New Mexico, he used to be at New Mexico State. He saw me at a Colorado camp, and that's when he started getting in contact with me, and we've been in contact ever since, sending him videos, letting him know where I'm playing. And then he reached out to me and told me that he moved to Western New Mexico, but he's still interested. I think I was still a junior, so I couldn't commit yet.
Yeah.
So, but we were still keeping in contact. And then once September, it was September 1st, going into junior year, is when coaches were allowed to talk to me and communicate with me and like offer me something. So he said, I want to get you on a visit on the campus before the summer, so we can offer you something. So I went and visited, and they offered me. And right away, when I went to the campus, I just immediately fell in love with it. It felt like home away from home, and I just kind of knew like this is where I need to be. Like I worked so hard, and I love my coaches up there, and I can tell they have a lot of love for me too. So I was like, I'm ready. Like I told my parents, like I want to commit to them. Like I'm excited. So that's what I did. I told them, and I was just super happy, super happy. It was junior years when I did commit.
Oh, nice. Was it kind of like a relief at that point? Like,
Yes.
I can just play for fun now?
Yes, for sure. It was definitely relief. Like I still had to work hard, and I still felt like I had to prove something, because obviously, I committed now and I need to stay at that level. So it was a relief for sure, and I was like a breath of fresh air for sure. But it was still like I got to keep working.
Yeah, I gotta find ways to still get better, because I've seen it where people commit, and all of a sudden they have like a bad junior or senior year, and they're like, hey, you're just a walk on now, or something like that.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not gonna happen. Like I have to do even more than what they saw me in the past. So.
Yeah. So one thing that I talk to people about, becoming a college athlete, it takes a lot of sacrifices. What were kind of things you had to sacrifice to make sure you got to your goal in playing college softball?
I'd have to say moving away from home was pretty hard. It's only 3 hours away, but I mean, I've been around my family my whole life, obviously. But I think it was just something that I needed to learn to become independent and start doing more things for myself. And I didn't really have to sacrifice anything. It was just like a new learning step for me and just like growing for
Yeah.
sure. Hmm.
Yeah. So talk about first day going to college. Like, I remember the first time I set foot at Western Oregon, the first practice, I'm like, ah, crap, what did I get myself into? Did you ever have that? Because now you're not only going against like the best high school kids in Arizona, you're going against the best kids around the country.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. I think well, the first day when they dropped me off, obviously it was sad. It was a sad
Yeah.
day, but I got super close with the freshmen pretty fast. And once we started having like team meetings and stuff, I was super nervous. Like I felt like a little lost puppy,
Yeah.
like because everyone else had already experienced it, and it was an adjustment for sure. Like the first practice, obviously I was completely nervous. Like oh my gosh, I need to do so good. But once I started getting into it, it felt way more relaxed and more like excited,
Yeah.
especially for the spring to come. And yeah.
Did you save the first hit you got in college, like the softball or anything?
No, I
Oh,
don't think
they
so.
didn't let you guys do that?
No.
That was a cool thing about my school. Every so now after your freshman year, what are some things you're gonna look back and like now you're making these adjustments that you learned from your freshman year?
I'd have to say a big part of it for me was like mental part of it. I think like before games, having some mental preparation for yourself, and it's good. Most everyone always tells us to breathe before every at bat, and I think freshman year I was a little too anxious,
Yeah.
and wanted to do too much too fast. So I think for me, I think just this year I just need to focus on staying where my feet are and just like be in the moment, not trying to do too big, because if you really think about it, like it is just a game at the end
Yeah.
of the day, and obviously you want to do your best, but if you take things slow, like you're gonna have the success that you want. So
Yeah. Just let the process play
yep,
out.
yep, trust the process. Everything is gonna happen how it's meant to be, and you just got to remember that.
Awesome. All right. Now, kind of a fun questions now. Favorite freshman moment that you had in college this year? Could be like for us, we always had freshman karaoke, that type of stuff. So
Oh yeah, freshman year. I don't know. We did a lot of team bonding. I think. I think my favorite moment was during the fall. We would have. They're called boat crews. So they separate us into like five of us in a group, and we would have little competitions to try to earn points. And my group won. Fun fact. But in
nice.
the fall, we did a Halloween costume contest plus kickball. And that was
Oh
super
shoot.
fun. Yeah, my group all dressed up as different versions of Pitbull. So we had to wear like a ball cap,
Yeah.
and we had to stay in character
Mr.
the whole
305.
time. Yes, exactly. So I think that was really fun.
Cool. Favorite or craziest superstition you have for softball?
A superstition I have is I always pray before a game, and one thing about me is that I don't know, those that have seen me play, I always have a pink ribbon in my hair.
Nice.
I always have to have a pink ribbon in my hair, and it's the same color. So yeah.
Cool. And best memory you've ever had at Jet?
At Jet,
Or,
I could say the worst memory.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. Craziest workout, or cause I remember there was one time I felt like I wanted to chop off my legs.
For sure, for sure. I think it was the first time we had went outside one time, and Jose had made us like run all the way to the end of the fence and back. And of course I threw up, and my mom was laughing at me. So that was definitely not a good moment. But favorite moment, I think just afterwards how we all feel, and like sometimes Jose would do like the finishers with us, and you could see him dying and sweating, and I'm like, yep.
I remember those days.
Yep, for sure.
Awesome. So what's next for you? When are you leaving for back to Western New Mexico? And just anywhere we can keep following your journey.
Yeah, so I'm still gonna be working out here at Jet in the summer and practicing. I leave back to Western, I believe, the second week of August. And I have Instagram, I have Facebook, and just stuff like that. But yeah, I'm excited to
Awesome.
keep going.
We'll definitely keep following that journey, and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.